So, guys, welcome to one more live session with Atish Jain. In today's live session, I'll explain you what are the different versions of C and C++ programming languages available. See, generally, people who are working with C and C++, they will not focus on versions of these languages. When they learn in academic, they learn that C language is developed in the year 1972. And if students go a little bit deeper of the history, then they understand that it has been undergone various changes and it has been standardized in the year 1989 and 90. That's it. They're not aware that even for C and C++ programming language, there are some versions. It has been evolved over the period of years. See, just like Java and Python, how they have versions, in the same way, C and C++ also have their own versions. So if you want to know like how C and C++ programming languages have been evolved over the period of 50 years from their development, then this video is for you. I'll share the screen and I'll share one document. In the document, I'll show you clearly, like right from the beginning, how the C language has been evolved. My focus will be on C language. So just have a look on this document. This document will tell you that how C language has been evolved over the period of years. In 1990, the first standardized version is released, which is also known as C90 version, or you can say C89. Then the next minor update was in the year 1995. After that, in the year 1999, which is also known as like C19, variable length arrays, long data type, inline functions, single line comments, these features were added. After 1999, in the year 2011, the concept of multi-threading was introduced. After that, the next release is 7 years. That's nothing but 2018. Minor bug fixes to C11, and there were no major new features were added. In 2023, that's nothing but C23 version, type reference with auto, improved constant expressions, and there were few enhancements in printf and scanf functions. So last 50 years, C language has evolved like 5 to 6 times. It has been released 5 to 6 times with some new versions. As on date, the latest version of C language is C23. It is standardized by ISO and IEC. So if you know what is ISO and IEC, then please do let me know in the comments. This is an question for you, that write the abbreviation of ISO and IEC in the comments below this video, wherever you are watching. You might be watching this video on YouTube or LinkedIn or Facebook. When it comes to C language, like we are not downloading the C compiler directly. What we do is we download an IDE, and IDE will contain the inbuilt C compiler. That's what we call actually the C software. So I'll give you the different IDEs which supports different C language versions. Means these are the list of few IDEs which supports few compiler versions. C-Free supports MeanGW GCC compiler, which supports C89, 99, 11, and a little bit of C17. Means C-Free ID supports up to C17 only. But whereas if you take code blocks, it supports up to C23. So guys, try to understand, if you are a C and C++ user, then stick to code blocks IDE. Okay. Dev C++, that's one more IDE is there. This Dev C++ supports up to C17, and it's outdated and it's not recommended. Means like since many years there were no updates for this Dev C++ ID. So people are not recommending the Dev C++ ID. It's better to use code blocks as on date. Turbo C++ is there. It's very old ID and it supports Borland C++ compiler, and it supports only C89, and it is not at all recommended for the modern development. You can use Visual Studio, but in Visual Studio it's from Microsoft. So MSVC is nothing but Microsoft Visual Studio. So Microsoft Visual Studio, what you have to do is you have to explicitly download the MinGW compiler, and you have to set up that particular compiler to this IDE. So if you are new to programming, then you may find a little bit difficult to download the compiler separately and set the path and attach that compiler to this Visual Studio IDE. But it has limited support for again C17 and C23. So like the winner is code blocks ID till now from the list, if you can see. Then after that, there are so many modern IDs like C Lion, Eclipse CDT, and VS Code. VS Code. So here Visual Studio is from Microsoft. Okay. And there is one more ID from Microsoft, that is VS Code, and it supports like all the latest versions of C language. So either you can work with code blocks ID or VS Code ID. But in VS Code also you have to download and install. Means you have to download the compiler explicitly and you have to set the path. I've given like a few more IDs which are recommended in 2024 as well as 2025 also. C Lion is from JetBrains. It is best for professional development and large projects. Okay. So I've listed some pros, cons. You can see here. Then for beginners, as I said, it's better to use code blocks ID or VS Code. So always go with code blocks ID or VS Code. If you're a professional, then C Leon or Eclipse. For Windows users, Visual Studio. If you're using Microsoft Visual Studio. And best IDs in 2025. Again, the winner is C Leon from JetBrains. It's for professional developers. Otherwise, you can work with VS Code, or you can go with code blocks ID. For beginners and students, it is always recommended to go with beginners and it is always recommended to go with code blocks for beginners and students. But if you're using Mac, then it's better you shift to VS Code ID. And I think code blocks is supported on Mac also. So it's better either you work with code blocks or VS Code. Okay, that's final. And here I have just listed that the IDs for different needs. For beginners, code blocks again. For professionals, C Leon. For cross-platform, like if you are working on Mac OS, then VS Code, it's better. For Windows, Visual Studio. For embedded systems, Qt Creator is mainly used for IoT and UI apps. And here I have given a list of future trends in C development 2025 and beyond, because this is the era of AI. So you'll find C23 support is expanding. The latest version is expanded, and the C Leon and VS Code will have AI-driven suggestions. Like when you write code, it will keep on suggesting you. Auto suggestion feature will be there. AI code will be there. AI will be keep on correcting your code as and when you will be writing. And there are so many cloud-based IDs are there. Is it clear? Like CodeSpace and there are some IDs. You can just go and check it out, explore it, an online space for cloud-based, and you'll find better debugging and performance tools. So this is about different IDs as well as C programming language versions. And if you're not aware of these concepts, then give me a thumbs up in the comment below this video so that I'll understand that you have like learned something from this session. And if you need this particular list, the list what I have prepared, if you need the reference to this list, then let me know in the comments so that I'll share the link for this particular list so that you can refer it as and when if it is required for you. So that's it, guys, for today's session. See you in the next session.